Hey there, monkeys. Grab that cup of coffee, kick back, and relax. We'll get started with a SITREP in just a minute. All right. Hey, welcome, folks. Mil-Spec Ops here. This is going to be your SITREP. It is 12/26/2023, and we're going to get into the deets. We're going to talk about this 2024 Black Swan event potential. We're going to look at the border. We're going to look at the numbers coming across the border. Going to shock you. And as always, well, let's just get into it. Let's jump over here, start peeling that banana. We're in Skyglass today. It is a very light day. We only have about 22 up right now. That's because we're coming out of Christmas and headed into the new year. Now, the areas that I will tell you we should be paying very close attention to are the intel community, the Homeland Security, etc. I'm going to look at those flights or the lack thereof. It's mind-boggling. I'm just telling you, I feel like whoever is responsible for this stuff is intentionally asleep at the wheel. It is just not good. All right. Hey, by the way, if you haven't joined us over here on Patreon, we'd love to have you. You can just hold your phone up to that little QR code, and it'll take you. Just click on the little yellow highlight that it gives you. It'll take you straight over there. But this amazing community, we're growing leaps and bounds, and it's a beautiful thing. And if you're not over there, if you would just hit that like and subscribe, bell for notification over here on the tube. And we'll get into it. Now, this is the interesting thing. So we're talking about the stuff that's up behind us. Really not a lot. You can see a couple air refuelers, and that number's pretty light, really, considering, you would think that we would still be on our toes, but we just aren't. It's really, really nutso. So, okay, there's that aspect. So let's do this. We're going to go into the watch list and just notice the things that we do see here today actively, and that is going to be some of the Homeland Security stuff. All right, just notice there's a lot of helicopters along the border right now. Got some things jumping out of the islands down into Miami. And then, of course, you can see some of the survey flights like that one. That's going to be Spec Ops community, right? That's your Air Force Spec Ops flight. So that's an Uber for your high-speed pipe hitters. And then we go down a little further to Europe, and you can see mostly survey flights. You can just the regular. That's going to be a MIL drone right there off of Malta, and then that's actually the Ruskies coming around the horn like they always do. All right, coming, getting a close look at what's going on there in Israel, I'm sure, but also looking at other things, and probably landing in Egypt if I had to guess. All right. Oh, let me back that up. This is intel. Okay. And the reason this is important is because notice there is more intelligence gathering right now down over Panama than over our own United States. And look at this, right? I told you there's some unrest going on down there. Well, we've got intel just to watch it. But then you get over here to this side. Notice the one that's parked down there by Trump came out of D.C., and this one that has moved down to kind of the border of the Texas, Oklahoma, kind of right there near the Red River. That's it for the intel on the U.S. Now, look at this. We're going to tie into an article here in a minute. Yeah, they're looking at Kaliningrad, but really they're looking at Belarus and that whole piece in here. Why that becomes important, we'll talk about that here in just a minute. I'll show you the article that relates to that. And then, of course, right here, they are looking into Serbia. All right, that's because there is a lot of stuff going on there. That some clashes may be on the horizon, and of course, a little drone, or sorry, yeah, little. What am I on here? Intel, yeah, sorry, the Intel looking down into Libya. This is the drones. I'm getting ahead of myself. Very light on the drone side of the house, which is unusual. Notice the one coming out of DC back down to the Southern California border. Nothing down into Panama, which I'm shocked, actually. I figured we would probably see something like that. Then back it up, get over to Europe. And the only thing I can see, that's a U.S. asset coming out of Malta, it looks like, looking very, very closely at the Lebanon-Israeli border. Now, you might go, well, what's going on there? Well, we're going to talk about that. Let me just show you what's going on there, because this is something that I think is very pertinent. That's actually up near Turkey, and it's coming out of Qatar. I don't know who owns and operates that. I think it's actually maybe it could be them, actually. Look at the flights over Bahrain and that area. Now, look at this headline right here. I say headline. That would be my scene name. It's not a headline, but look at the amount of activity. This is not down near Gaza, folks. This is the northern side of Lebanon. Of Israel, the Lebanese border. But look at the amount of strikes. That's because Hezbollah is pushing hard on that border, and they're popping things off and trying to stir the pot. I'm telling you, we're about to see Israel start heading north, and they're going to go probably all the way to Beirut, and they're going to clean house. All right? And then don't lose sight of Isaiah 17 and Damascus. Remember, that tells us that we're going to wake up, and Damascus is going to be gone, leveled, and not even exist anymore. So pay close attention to that one. All right. Okay. Now back over here to the mini, and we talked Intel, we talked drones. Let's talk Homeland Security, or lack thereof. This is the last 5 days. Now, when I show you the amount of activity going on at our southern border, and I show you the Homeland Security piece to this, or lack thereof, you're thinking, what in the heck is going on? You'd think it'd be all hands on deck. You'd think our intel, our drones, you'd think they would be looking at everything they could get their hands on because of this Black Swan event that's supposedly coming, right? All right, here's your R-135s. Really nothing to speak of. It's the United States and nowhere else except for maybe a little bit over in Okinawa and Asia. Looking maybe at the borders, maybe down into Texas with that kind of a side look, right? And then we can see this one that kind of bounces across. They don't even stop in Alaska. It just keeps on going, right? You can see the broken trace, but then when we get over to Japan and Okinawa, you can see its arrival. So it looks like we got an R-135 that is landed over there. Very light for R-135s. Okay, let's talk C-17s. And it is kind of light. It's the last 5 days. Broken trace headed out towards Hawaii. But then we notice we've got the normal stuff. And then notice these little peppers. Interior of the country. Yeah. I think we're getting migrants in there, honestly. And I think we're bringing them in on C-17s. And when I say migrants, I'm talking about Gaza. All right. Or the West Bank. They're bringing them in. Middle Easterners. Okay. That one intrigues me. What? Look at the amount of flights that came in down here to the Virgin Islands. Think we're worried about stuff going on down here to the south? Maybe putting some missile defense stuff in there? I don't know. But that's a lot of C-17 activity down into the islands. And then just the big, thick spaghetti noodles in and out of Germany. I can guarantee you Germany is getting overrun with migrants right now, and we don't hear about it here in the U.S., but I can bet you that they're all looking at each other thinking, did this community just grow? Okay, and just notice, UAE, Qatar, in and out of Egypt. in and out of Jordan. Okay, then we get over here. We'll just take a look at Asia. I see some Indian flights going on. I see some flights, a lot of broken traces coming out of Japan. And I see some stuff happening down in the Philippines, but very, very light. You don't see it that often. It's because nothing's really changed. They're not doing anything at all. And then Australia, very light. All right. Okay. Now let's get into the news and the details of what's going on out there. We'll start it off over here. This CBP is that's Customs and Border Protection, logs the busiest November on record with encounters at the U.S. southern border. Yeah, that's most of this is Texas, but Arizona as well. But check this out: 242,418 encounters at the southern border for the month of November. 1 month, you got that kind of number. This is, I'm telling you, we're being invaded. This picture right here pretty much says it all, because as you look, you see one female at the head of the line. Look behind her at the sea of males all the way back. Those are all males, one female. That's the ratio that we're getting. I'm telling you, we are being invaded. Governor Abbott has got to shut down the border. He's got to take on the feds. He's got to do it. If he does not do it, folks, we are doomed. We're already probably doomed, but he has to get some huevos, and he's got to get this thing stopped, period. I don't care what the Fed says, because the next big thing that's going to happen is you're going to get a bunch of people here in Texas that are going to start showing up at the border, and they're either going to be protesting or they're going to be combat ready, right? And so if that's what it takes, that's the direction we have to go. But I'm just telling you, that is going to be the next step. He's going to leave us no choice but to do that if he doesn't get his butt in gear and start shutting down this border. All right. Now, that part, I'm going to tell you, let's go over to the SWIFT side of the house, because as we talk about that, well, actually, let me get through these other two articles real fast. Mass migration blueprints revealed by non-government organizations, or NGOs, carefully planned U.S. migrant invasion. Yeah, these are illegals. Remember, that's the key word. But look at the detailed maps that have been found, telling them how to get in, where to go, and all of the help that is provided to them by non-government, right? This isn't Mexico, putting in these workstations. These are independent, democratically funded organizations that are down there to help them get through. They're giving them everything they need to be successful in their journey as they come up through Central America and into this area, right? Absolutely insane. Look at this. Look how organized this is. You know who's funding these guys? Our government. 1,000,000%. That's where they're getting all of their money to go do this. They're standing up shop to make sure people make it through here successfully and get to these borders, and then they bring them into our. This is just. So where do we go in? Let's go look back at the Roman failure, barbarian invasions, the pressure from various barbarian groups like the Vandals, except the Huns. Was a constant threat. Rome's weakening military struggled to fend off the invasions. Well, our military isn't even engaged. So what does that tell you? Our military, yeah, we got National Guard down there at the border, but other than that, yeah, they are basically like free-range chickens. They're just coming straight into our country, and then we are giving them all the resources they need to make it even further to the interior of the country. So, again, look at this. These are all of the resources available to these people as they come through. Absolutely incredible. Well-funded. They're given money. They're put on welfare. They get a cell phone, $5,000, and a place to live. The United States is spending $450 roughly $1 billion a year to handle these migrants and to stand them up and to put them into homes and to give them money. It's absolutely incredible. Our government, folks, is doing this to us, we the people, right? They don't represent us at all on any level. Now check this out. This knuckleheadedry here. I'm not even going to show you the video because it's almost, well, not quite as bad as this, but you know, it's right up there. Look at this knucklehead. I can't believe we give this guy even one dime. This is just shows you how the deep state can stand up anybody they want, put a puppet into play. But this guy right here, here he goes. He's doing some cringy Feliz Navidad thing, right? But I'm not going to show. There it is over here. But let's just keep going. It's idiots. Who and how do you guys put these kind of idiots in office? I don't know. But let's just get beyond that. Look at the streets in Denver now. These people are standing up, literally standing up in alleys and streets, wherever they want. Tents. Somebody has, I don't know where they got this, but you know, you'd think it was a food truck street and this was some type of a party going on, but no. These are homeless that are on the streets, and this is an area that they are basically hanging out in, and they've set up little pup tents for them, all kinds of different stuff. Like these right here, little pup tents, right? Yeah, look, they still have the little foil bags that they were given at the border. Yeah, incredible. As we go through, I don't know what that is, but anyway, it just absolutely blows your mind. This is happening. This is Denver. Then the streets are being just inundated with migrants, illegals, right? Okay. Now, this is your Swift Air flights, right? This is what they are currently. Notice they are all interior of the country, okay? All interior. And that's what you have on the board, right? Well, let's go look at the Swift flights. And this will give you a kind of a roll-up. This is the last 5 days, 21 flights. Just notice from border towns, repositioning. You've got them headed into the interior of our country, Los Angeles. Then you get them up here. There's Denver. We just talked about Denver. Then you get to the north. You've got them in Minneapolis. You see them going into Canada. You can see them in, near Pittsburgh, Chicago, Philadelphia, areas where they're just going to go and blend. You'll never find them unless they want to find them, all right? And that is, well, should I say, unless they want to be found, okay? Now, that's that part of it. And, yeah, there's a couple flights going down to Central America. I seriously think that is feeding. More than likely, it's not deporting. It could be, but it is slim numbers. Slim numbers. Remember, in November, we had a record number, right? Just under 300,000 people coming through. Now, look at this. As I'm going to show you the last 365 days. This is a roll-up, and I'm going to give you a corrected number because I think in my last video, I talked about this being 2.2 million. And based on the flight data, I actually doubled my number, and it is actually still 1.2 million or 1.1 million for the year. 5,575 flights total. But you could see complete, looks like a kid's drawing, complete cover-up of us bringing them into our country and moving them around into just dispersing them everywhere. So 365 days, a very small charter company that's contracted by the U.S. government, 1.1 million migrants. Just this one little airline. That doesn't include Delta and American and Southwest and all United, all the big boys that are also doing this. And that doesn't include the 83,000 that Governor Greg Abbott has sent into the interior of our country. Okay, that's your Swift. Back over here to this side of it. Let's talk flashbang for a minute. Looks like he's got really nothing going on. He's coming back to the White House. Remember, he has been at the bunker at Camp David for the last, or over Christmas. And then this one here, reporter, this is our black swan. And the reason I point this out, and the reason that I'm focusing on this, is because I showed you, everything that has happened relative to the fall of Rome and how we are mirroring it. Then you hear somebody that is a agency clown that has high connections, and she comes out on a show and basically makes this, saying that the potential for a black swan event in 2024 is very, very, very high. Now, that's after you've already heard Ray and all these others talking about things are at a level they've never ever seen in our country in terms of the chatter. So then you have this lady who is, a agency clown, comes out and says that we have the potential for a very, very ominous black swan event for this year. Now, I will tell you, it's coming into an election year. You've got a candidate that they're doing everything they can to take out and eliminate. You've got an economy that's on the brink of a collapse, and you're being invaded in our country by illegals at a record number, most of which are military-age fighting males. Yeah, I'd say she probably knows something, and she's communicating this so that others that know to listen to her are paying attention and will basically take the appropriate actions so that they're ready for this when it happens, right? Not be in certain locations and areas, etc. But this is her right here, if you don't know who she is. And then this is the panel on Face the Nation, which I never watch. Most of you probably never watch either. But nonetheless, this is her making a point that we are on fertile soil in terms of a black swan event here in the United States. I would agree completely. Okay. Now, we've been listening to the Coalition of the Unwilling, talking about the attacks going on in the Red Sea and the fact that we've got our U.S. Navy in there. But this is saying the attacks on ships in the Red Sea continue as his naval coalition starts to show cracks. Yeah, they're doing nothing. They are absolutely trying to figure out how they can even counter these drones that are coming in from Yemen. The problem that they run into is the Pentagon is saying, well, it's going to cost us billions of dollars to stop these little, nickel dime drones that are hitting our ships and attacking the ships. And they have a lot of them. It's crazy how they figured that out. Just wait and don't think for a second that doesn't happen here in the United States when we get attacked. Those drones are going to be a big piece of all of this. So these are the Houthis. They are Iranian-backed militia, a proxy that's, does all their dirty fighting just like Hezbollah. They continue to put a dent and stop the flow of goods in the Red Sea. And and the U.S. just lets it happen. We got no answer for them. Instead of just tearing down Yemen and just showing them, hey, you mess with us and you're going to get, you get into fisticuffs. We do nothing. We just keep, it's like the Rocky movie where, he just got his arms down by his side and he's just telling them, hit me again. But he's not going to do anything. At the end, he's not going to swing a punch because this is all by design. Okay. The Biden admin rejects Israel's request for the Apache helicopters. That right there tells you all you need to know. These guys need them. They probably don't need a lot, but it would help them. It doesn't matter whether F-35s or these things. Israel will find a way to take out the threat. And the fact that the United States is basically saying, yeah, we're not going to give you any more, just goes to show you that we're not their friends. Otherwise, if we wanted this to really end and we wanted them to be successful, we would give them everything they needed to do it. And instead, we're doing nothing but watching to make sure they don't do anything stupid, right? It's incredible. Okay, over to the cyber threat side of the house, you can see we got a lot of stuff coming in from Europe into the United States, but the U.S. seems to be eating its own here, at least from the checkpoint map and where these threats are hitting. Right? See a lot of stuff firing off into Israel. India, and then Israel popped up. So combine the words. But nonetheless, Israel seems to be getting popped by the United States as well. Go figure. All right, this is Bitdefender. This is the one that really shows what's going on. Here, look at this. The United States, once again, we're always number one. And you can just see the volleys coming in. This is probably the bigger threat than anything, because if we're going to be attacked, they will probably try to hit us from a cyber attack first to take down any kind of defense or our power, water, whatever it may be, and just cause chaos. And then they'll do their thing. Okay, listen, if you're on the West Coast, I will tell you, buckle up, Buttercup, because it's coming. This is the beast that just came out of China that dumped 22 inches of snow, a record, all-time record, all right? But this right here, this is turbulence. This is some serious heavy-duty weather coming in, very bumpy. And if you're flying across the drink, boo, that's going to be a rough flight. But let me put this into motion, and you can see where it is heading. Interesting thing is I don't see any of the NOAA flights out there trying to do something to, make this thing kind of fizzle out. And just look at the wave. It just keeps on coming. That's going to probably hit north of San Francisco all the way up into Vancouver in Canada. I don't know what that is. I need to take a look here. Exercise scheduled today through March 20th. Wow, that's a lot. Okay. I don't know what that helicopter skiing ops will take place within that 81-mile radius. I don't know if that's right. Something skiing ops, extensive. Okay, nonetheless, that's what's going on there. I don't see anything else that catches my eye here other than this one will go away because he's coming back to D.C. today, and you can see we've got some turbulence there as well as we get out of the United States. And let's just look across the drink. Another big, massive storm coming into the UK at the same time the one's coming into the United States. And you can just see the pattern as it goes through. But, yeah, I don't see anything else catches my eye from that standpoint. Let's move on over to this side. Now, I was just telling you, when we were showing the intel flights, I said they are looking very closely at Belarus. This is why, right? Russia has completed its delivery of nuclear weapons to Belarus. Look at the size of that missile system. That is a very, very large warhead. And it looks like he has just completed delivery of all of those. So all the nukes are now that Belarus was going to get, they now have. It looks like that is done. That's why we were looking at it so closely. But yeah, that's a slow drive and takes a lot of gas. So that's probably why it took so long. Okay. China says develop tech to disguise missiles as civilian aircraft. It says that it's called the Golden Veil. The invention reportedly works by altering the missile's radar cross-section to mimic large aircraft, such as a 737, which is really a super large aircraft, and an Airbus A320. That's scary. Now, I don't know what they do because missiles are very fast, a lot faster than most of these aircraft. And it's just an interesting data point. The fact that they can do that just goes to show you that you may think that plane, it's a plane coming in to land, and they're going to have no communication with the tower. The tower's going to be freaking out, and then it's going to go boom, right? So it's not so they usually aren't going to just fire one missile. Going to be multiple ones, but it just, again, you've got things like the Club K. You've got their ability to mask missiles. And if you're not familiar with the Club K, that is a Russian missile defense system, or not defense, a missile system that is disguised as a shipping container. And you just roll them right in on cargo vessels and nobody know the difference. And so anyway, yeah, between that and drones and all the other stuff, it is getting nutso, and the cyber attacks. Okay, let's take a look at Fort Bliss. We'll just go around the horn real fast. Not a lot going on. Omni came in and looks like they're going to be bouncing out and headed up to Camp Douglas, Wisconsin. Again, don't know troops, or that could be anything. They serve many masters, could be migrants, probably troops given the time of year. But this is Dover. You've got one Atlas Air coming in from Miami, Amerijet coming in from Miami. Both of these, that's a big boy. And then outbound, that looks like that 747's heading to Ramstein, and so is this one. So that's probably troops going to Germany, given the fact it's a 767-300, right? That one's carrying stuff, but that one, that's troops. And then this is going to be Ramstein, and you can see the two arrivals we just talked about, one from Dover, one Baltimore, Washington. And let's go up to, this will be RZE Poland. Again, forward operating base, and I don't see anything. That's a big plane. Oh, no, that's not actually. Never mind. I was thinking that was something else. Okay. That's a big plane. 747 coming in from Frankfurt, and then it's going to Hong Kong from there. So it's dumping off some stuff as a camber flight, probably things that go boom or that help things go boom. And then I've got nothing else on the board. So RZE is very, very light. Nothing from the camber side, nothing from Western Global. I didn't see anything. Omni, same thing. Here's National Cargo coming out of Hong Kong, and then this one coming out of Seoul, Korea, headed to Anchorage. These, well, at least this one right here is probably picking up artillery. That will be used more than likely in Ukraine. And then this one's just picking up some regular stuff coming out of Hong Kong. Okay. Brits only have one flight up right now. And let me back it up to see where that is. Okay, it looks like it's getting ready to land in Cyprus. And that's it. NATO, nothing on the board. So, all right, listen, that is going to do it for our SITREP today. And just definitely, if you're going out for the new year, I would say stay frosty. Don't avoid crowds. We've got too many unknowns in the United States right now that would make those soft targets a very, very high likelihood of being a target if they're going to do something. Okay, so New Year's Eve, in New York City, no, stay away from that. All right. Okay, that's it. So stay frosty, keep that powder dry, and as always, if you're ready, if you want peace, prepare for war. All right, that's it. God bless. Monkey out. Thanks for watching, folks. You can check out the latest gear and products by selecting the QR code on your screen now, or go to monkeyworksus.com.